Today on episode 27 of the Sean and Bo Show, the bizarre attack of WNBA star Brittany Griner while in China.
And Adrian Peterson reaches a plea deal to avoid jail time.
Plus, porn star Lisa Ann has a beef with a professional athlete, and we'll go over the latest college playoff rankings. It's all coming up on the Sean and Bo Show. Hey everybody, welcome back once again to episode 27 of the Sean and Bo Show. I'm Sean O'Donnell along with my co-host Bo Greer. And Bo, it's not enough that your Cowboys lost 2 games in a row. They are now shooting themselves in the foot on social media. Did you hear about this?
Oh, man.
So they're, of course, traveling with the hobbled Tony Romo over to London. And, to sort of get in the London spirit, they decided that they would have a team hashtag for their trip. Hashtag CowboysUK. Now, it's one thing if you say it, but if you see it in print, it looks an awful lot like Cowboys suck. And that's exactly what a lot of Cowboy haters out there in the Twitter sphere took it as. They retweeted the Cowboys things like, yeah, y'all do suck.
Yeah, we're just setting ourselves up for that. 2 weeks ago, people are already saying that the road to the Super Bowl was going to go through Dallas, but not looking like that. Fast forward, and here we are. Tony Romo has little broken bones in his back. Somebody's running wild with the Twitter account, and my biggest concern is we're going to go over to London and figure out another way to lose a football game.
Well, unleashing the Whedon definitely wasn't the answer last week, Bo.
That I don't even know how to look at that. I go back and I watch that game, and I'm not going to jump on that bandwagon of let's take away from the Cardinals. They're 7-1. They flat out whooped us. You look at positions on the field, mainly where I go, is the front guys, the offensive line and defensive line. They are physical. My gosh, Ellington, he's a beast coming out of that backfield. And Palmer, he looks like his days at USC. I know that brings back bad memories for you, Notre Dame fans, but this guy's out there dropping dimes. So watch out for the Cardinals. Nobody's really talking about this right now, Sean. They could be the team that does it.
I wanted to ask you that, and we'll certainly have plenty of Week 10 NFL talk later in the show, but Cardinals, best team in the NFL?
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah. I mean, they just keep doing it. And then there's something I didn't know about Arians, Bruce Arians, the coach. I didn't realize his timeline and how he kind of got shunned by NFL owners because of the route he had to take. And a lot of people, GMs, were like, if he gets another shot, watch out. And you can just see it. He's just a winner. That's all he does.
He might be winning, but whenever I see him, he looks like you ever see those like apps on Facebook or whatever that allows you to like age yourself and see what you look like? He looks like Guy Fieri in about 20 years from now. That's what he looks like.
Yeah, and he reminds me, wearing those old school hats, it reminds me of my dad in the 80s. Like, it's like the look for all men in the 80s.
Now, of course, baseball's all wrapped up for the year, but some headlines being made. It's come out that Alex Rodriguez bribed his cousin, all right? Nearly $1 million. How nice would that be to be his mouthy cousin?
Wow.
Now, to me, this whole thing sounds like it has the makings for like a bad sitcom. His cousin Yuri, I guess, threatened to come clean about what was going on with biogenesis and all that. So Alex Rodriguez made a deal with him, paid him $700,000 in a single payment, and then a few more payments totaling about $200,000 just to keep his yapper shut.
He needs a boss. Like, A-Rod is the prime example why entertainers, rappers, actors have agents and men who corral them. Yeah, that's what he needs. Like, he's a walking time bomb. You're just waiting for the next news cycle to come along, and somehow A-Rod's going to be in the middle of it. Whether it's doing something in the stands at a popular sporting event or being seen with some celebrity on his arm, this guy is just always in the headlines for the wrong things.
I still think we should pitch this idea to ABC. We'll call it Cousin Yuri, and it'll be a sitcom about Yuri spending A-Rod's $900,000 and his wacky adventures.
Cousin Yuri will probably be on The Apprentice in like 2 years.
Another baseball story. Tampa Bay former manager Joe Madden became the newest manager of the Chicago Cubs. And, Bo, I got to give this the official Sean and Bo show stamp of approval, just the manner in which he played this out, because he had his press conference in a popular Chicago sports bar.
It's awesome.
Not only that, he drank Guinness and offered everybody in the bar a round. It sounded a little something like this.
Where's the bartender? Bartender here? Barkeep? Anywhere? I got the drinks right now. Okay, what do I got? Round? What do I got? What Theo said I got 1 round. No, actually I had thought about that, so 1 round's on me, please. That's a shot and a beer. That's the Hazleton way, shot and a beer.
Now you might be asking yourself, well, what is the Hazleton way? Bo, that's actually the small coal town in Pennsylvania where my family's from.
That is awesome.
Yeah, Joe Madden's from the same town up there. I've always just kind of rooted for the guy because of that, because of that whole blue collar thing there. But I think he's making some fans out of the Chicago media already.
Oh yeah,
and he hasn't even done anything. Just a shot and a beer.
Yeah, being a guy that watches a lot of baseball in the Midwest, being a St. Louis Cardinals fan, growing up, going to those games. That's going to send a lot of shockwaves. You better get your A game because Madden is not coming into the Chicago Cubs to lose. That's going to be the real deal here real quick.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like they have the pieces in place. You know, you've had Theo Epstein there from the Red Sox for a few years.
Yeah.
Now we have, a successful manager coming into Chicago, so it could be the end of the curse in Chi-Town.
And he had to get tired of being kind of like the guy who prepared players to be purchased at top dollar by the Yankees and everybody else who took his players in Tampa.
Yeah, he's finally going to have a team that's willing to spend some money instead of just being like a fire sale for MLB talent.
Exactly.
Well, big news today coming out of the NFL. Adrian Peterson has struck a plea deal with prosecutors, and as a consequence, will not be spending any time in jail. So that's good. Part of this involved pleading no contest to a misdemeanor charge of reckless assault. So as a result of that, the case will have a deferred finding of guilt for 2 years. He'll pay $4,000 fine. Ooh, that's really going to cause a dent in his wallet. And 80 hours of community service for Peterson. Okay, so Peterson had a press conference after this came out today. He said, quote, "I'm just glad this is over. I can put this behind me and me and my family can move forward." He said, quote, "I truly regret this incident. I take full responsibility for my actions. I love my son more than any one of you could even imagine, and I'm anxious to continue the relationship with my child." So he will avoid jail time. Now, he's already missed a ton of games. So the question now is, well...
Not a ton of checks, though.
No, he's gotten paid. It's basically been a paid vacation for Adrian Peterson. But, the Vikings are anxious for him to come back. What do you think Goodell does? How is he going to handle this? Is he going to say, time served, you're good to go back? Or is he going to hold it? I think they have a bye this week, so it's kind of inconsequential. But how long do you see Peterson sitting out?
Goodell's got a pretty tough road dealing with all these suspensions, the Ray Rice thing coming about. It's... he's got to make a decision now based on what may come about 6 weeks from now. It's really interesting how the past year, the NFL decisions seem to be dished out and then the public weighs in, but it's usually takes a 2 to 3 week news cycle for somebody from some group to say, well, I didn't like that and I had a problem with it. I don't know how you put that man back out there without just saying to yourself and going to the NFL PR department, guys, let's get ready to weather the storm. You can't please everybody. You just got to be fair to him, be fair to the Vikings organization because you are doing business, and remember that you got to put the product out in the field and kind of let the pieces fall because nobody's able to handle any of these situations the right way. Somebody's always going to have a problem.
By the way, have you seen those stupid commercials that play during NFL games now, the no more commercials? You know what I'm talking? You haven't seen this?
No more?
That's what they say, isn't it? No more? It's like no more boys will be boys.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay. So comedian,
no more,
comedian Bill Burr had a hilarious take on this. He's like, I'm not beating my wife. Why are you yelling at me?
I know.
It's like, what are these commercials supposed to do? So some hillbilly out there that slaps his woman around is going to see that and say, oh, well, if Hines Ward says no more, then I guess it's time to stop.
It's what's wrong with so many things on so many different levels. And this being a sports show, we try to steer away from that because we use sports as that release. So whenever I have these commercials on Sunday or a Thursday night game, whenever they're airing them, it makes you feel uncomfortable because I watch games with friends. I know a lot of people watch games in sports bars. You watch them with friends, maybe guys from your fantasy football league, however you do it. And you got to feel like, are we supposed to talk about this? Are we supposed to like get up and have an educated discussion on domestic violence right now? Like,
in the middle of the third quarter?
Yeah, is this the time and place for this?
Well, back to Adrian Peterson. I think they'll probably sit him down maybe 2 more games. But his teammates definitely want him back. Tight end Kyle Rudolph said, quote, "We all know the kind of person he is. We've stood behind him this whole time. You'd be crazy not to welcome him back into that locker room. It'd be a big pickup for the locker room, being we have so many young guys. Anytime you can have a veteran back in that locker room, the leader that he is in the locker room, out on the practice field, would be huge for us. And certainly, as far as the X's and O's concerned, they miss the guy."
Oh, yeah. And old Teddy Bridgewater becoming Mr. Clutch. He had another win within the final minutes of a football game. Imagine how different that is if he has that play action coming off of that guy. His veteran leadership in that huddle, which you were alluding to. It's only a matter of time. I say 2 games. That sounds smart. It's just so hard to tell right now because Goodell has just been dragged through the mud. So anything he does moving forward, my man's going to tread real lightly. It's not going to happen like we think it is.
Meanwhile, we've had action return to the basketball court. NBA's in full swing, but a WNBA star was making headlines today. I don't know if you saw this, Bo. Brittany Griner says that she was attacked in China.
Wow.
What happened was her and 2 of her teammates were walking from the practice facility onto the team bus. Some crazy guy appeared with a knife, started brandishing it, yelling at them. He forced them like into the team bus, and he was like swinging this knife at her. She was wearing a heavy winter coat, so according to her agent, she didn't really get cut all that bad. Didn't need stitches or anything like that. But that's got to be bad. That's got to be terrifying for an athlete.
That could have been just not just to think like the personal level for her and dealing with that attack. Think of the international implications of that. The whole idea of us sending those athletes over there, it's all goodwill missions, Where's security? I have to ask this question. You know me, criminology guy. You get security when you travel anywhere as a team. That's just, I don't understand how somebody's able to hold them at knife point on a bus in China, and hopefully they're traveling as the WNBA representatives over there. That's beside me. I don't know how that happens.
As far as the actual basketball being played, Bo, I don't know if you're anything like me on this, but it's like whenever the NBA season starts up, I'm excited, man. I'm like, yeah, return of basketball. I watch a bunch of games. Then like 2 weeks later, I'm like, God, this season is just so damn long. And then my viewership will kind of trail off. Then towards the end of the season, I'll pick it back up.
Isn't it amazing how the timing is off in the NBA? Like, it's horrible. You watch the first couple weeks of college basketball and they do like the Maui Invitational, and you'll see a few guys miss alley-oops or a few passes behind their back. But when you watch the NBA, you can really tell that the rookies are at a different pace than the veterans because the rookies were in that D-League stuff in the summer league.
Yeah.
You can see the flow at which they play because what'll happen is you'll get a guy that comes off the bench and he'll be out there with one of the rookies, and you'll just see them making passes and playing. They have a flow together. They have a chemistry. And that's the biggest thing I think that gets people. You can't just be a casual fan, because I notice that when I watch NBA games early in the season, people passing it off their feet, people missing a sign. It's weird. It's definitely weird to watch with professional basketball.
By the way, I was watching the Bulls and the Cavs the other night, and our boy Tony Snell from here at the University of New Mexico, he cut off the long hair.
Yeah.
He's finally looking to be eating some food. He's growing into that long, lanky frame of his. And he was actually doing a pretty good job covering LeBron for part of that game. So that was cool to see.
You ever think the rest of the guys in the NBA that are just the stars and get to go out there and drop 40 points and not play defense are like we all have to band together to ensure that Thibodeau and the Bulls never win a championship. Because if they do, it could change. Do you realize they're the only team that practices? Like, they have practice. It's not just a practice where it's a shoot-around practice. It is a serious practice. They have platoons. Like, they have two deep in the NBA. That would change everything with these guys.
Meanwhile, somebody on the Nets kind of fell asleep on the wheel here, and I'm sure that they're going to be fired or disciplined. Right now, Bo, if you go to, let's see, I'll do it right now. If you type in nets.com, nets.com, there we go, you will be redirected to an eBay page selling the domain name. That's right. They somehow let it expire or something like that, and nets.com is now open for purchase. Currently, it's at $10,200, reserve not met. And the funniest part about this is if you go to nets.com, you'll be greeted by a big old picture of a cigar-smoking Mark Cuban holding one of the championship trophies.
You think, it's one of those deals where they change management and somebody just didn't tell somebody. Like, oh, yeah, by the way.
You might want to renew that. Maybe set it to one of those auto-renewal type of things.
Jay-Z forgot. He didn't tell somebody.
Lucky for whoever spotted that, by the way. I'm sure they were like, they couldn't tell any of their friends what they were about to do or anything like that, and now they get to cash in big time.
Yeah, just like Taco in that show I watched. He did the same thing, got CowboysUK from Jerry Jones and made his million.
All right, well, coming up on the Sean and Bo Show, this porn star that we talked about last week, Bo, Lisa Ann, the one that was dating the Notre Dame college football player, is quite annoyed at an NHL player. We'll get into that. Also, the very latest from the college playoff rankings, and we'll go over Week 10 and look forward to Week 11 of the NFL and make our picks. It's all coming up on the Sean and Bo Show. Once again, we want to thank you for listening to the Sean and Bo Show. We depend on you to grow the audience, so please tell a friend, a coworker, somebody in your fantasy league, anybody. If you want to check us out, we're, of course, available on iTunes, YouTube, and for previous episodes, which you can hear for free anytime, just go to seanandboshow.podomatic.com. Back to the show.
It's the Sean and Bo Show, and we're back ready to talk some more NFL and various stuff. I hear my girl Lisa Ann strikes again. I don't know what she's up to, but I love talking about this girl. What's she doing, Sean?
This lady has the best publicist of all time, I guess. I don't know how she's managed to do it, but she's worked herself into 2 shows in a row.
Nice.
We talked last week, of course, about how she was at least went on a date with 19-year-old Notre Dame wide receiver, and they were spotted at a Knicks game and all that good mess. But now she's making headlines again. Took to Twitter on Sunday morning. It was like Sunday morning at 9 a.m. or something weird like that. And she put an NHL player on blast. She tweeted, Bo, as you may imagine, I get some pretty random texts. Takes a lot to annoy me, but some people strive at it. The most annoying texter in the history of my life has been hands down Michael Del Zotto. Shocker, right? Yes, at Michael Del Zotto, the stud NHL player. For some reason, he thinks I am a dating service and will arrange dates for him. She went on. She said, strange, most guys want to date me, not use me to find other dates, but okay, I've asked him for 2 years to stop. Don't get mad. Been so busy with the season, I haven't been out at all. She quotes him. Any chance you have met a sweetheart for me to actually hang out with? So girls, do me a favor, just to do the kid the favor and get it out of my hands. At Michael Del Zotto is looking for dates. Lots of them.
Man, you know what? Michael Del Zotto, where does he play at? What
Flyers currently.
The Flyers. So this is all you need to do. Take one of your game checks, go out and get you a brand new Ford F-350, and just roll around the Midwest. You'll have about 10 of them in the back of there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're a pro athlete, do you really need the assist to get some dates?
It's pitiful. There's a lot of women looking for a good man, let alone a dude who's able to make more money in one game than some people will make in a whole lifetime. Come on, guy.
So she was asked about how all this came into being, and she explained it. She tweeted, short story. It all started about 2 years ago when I was hosting an event. At Michael Del Zotto reached out to the promoter to meet me. She says, I looked him up, and he was with the Rangers at the time. Looked cute. And I thought, okay, pro athlete. He won't try to kill or rob me. So sure, I will. So we go on a date. It's nice, hang out, yada, yada, yada. About a week later, he started asking if I could hook him up with girls on the road.
Oh my
I
God.
have to admire the cojones on this guy.
You think she's an escort service? What's wrong with
pretty
this
much.
guy?
So she continues after 4 months of going to games and explaining that to him. I finally gave up. So about a year goes by and we don't talk. We reconnect and start talking, and we get right back to this before we even had another date ourselves. I did warn him of this outcome.
Well, I mean, I can see why she's upset. A young lady like herself that's only attracted to 19-year-old Catholic boys.
Young, you can put quotation marks around.
She only likes 19-year-old Catholic boys. She's not worried about Mr. Delgado or whatever his name is.
So I guess TMZ Sports is actually going to have her on their show tonight. So watch for that if you're so inclined.
She's blowing up.
She's doing social media right, I suppose. Okay, Bo, so today, Tuesday, the second week of the college playoff rankings came out. Got them here in front of me. Probably the biggest changes, of course, Ole Miss out of the top 4, moved all the way back to number 11 following their loss. Notre Dame stays at 10. Arizona State moves up 5 spots to number 9. Now, Notre Dame and Arizona State play this Saturday. That's going to be a de facto elimination game.
Yeah.
One of those two teams isn't going to make it. Okay, so ahead of Arizona State at 8, you got Michigan State, 7, Kansas State. They moved up 2 slots, and then 6th through 4 all moved up 1 spot. That being TCU at 6, Alabama at 5, Oregon at 4. Then rounding out the top 3, it didn't change: Auburn, Florida State, and Mississippi State.
Before we get into the rest of the list, go ahead and take my word at this. I was at the Arizona State University of New Mexico game earlier this year. I love my Lobos. As you know, I played my college football there. But right now, our football program would struggle with the 6A state champion from Texas. They'd probably get us. But when you are at halftime doing a sideline meeting with your coach because it's only 24-21 over the Lobos, going up against Notre Dame, who should have beaten FSU, I'm going to go ahead and make that a lock this week. I'm pretty sure Notre Dame's going to get past that team.
I think so too, but
with ease. No, look at there's people out there predicting. There's people saying Arizona State's going to jump on the scene. Like, they got a Hail Mary against USC, and I've seen them struggle. They're a great young team, 2-loss, 3-loss team, but not ready for the playoffs. So we can cancel that out.
Well, okay, let's assume that does happen then. Notre Dame, number 10, takes out number 9, ASU. Where does that put Notre Dame? I mean, they're not getting respect, so
Yeah.
I think maybe tops they move up to 7.
They're going to move into that spot to be behind whatever team doesn't lose. Like the TCUs, the Oregons, the Bamas, they got to stay undefeated. Whoever starts slipping up in there, that's going to be the spot that's kind of reserved for that team that wins that big game the week before. I'm wanting to see once we get into about the 3rd or 4th poll, I think you're going to start seeing a trend with these college football playoff rankings because the schedules are set up, and I wondered if they did this. It's almost like the schedules are set up perfect for what's going on with this playoff. It's like the week that they come out, within 7 to 14 days, you're going to be able to find out how those two teams fare because they're either going to play each other or they're going to play a common opponent, and that's working out great for them this year. All
right, well, before we get into the NFL talk, I just got to point out, this is probably the funniest thing I saw all week. It comes from Big Cat of BarstoolSports.com. We're friends with those guys. Clam writes for Barstool Sports. This is a Vine. I don't know if this ever happened to you back in the college days. You were an offensive lineman, so you probably heard the quarterback a lot of the times after they got hit. And this comes from Andrew Luck, who Big Cat has dubbed the best dweeb of all time. Old Andrew Luck apparently loves complimenting opposing players after they hit him. Here's what that sounds like.
Nice hit, buddy. Quick hit, sizzle. All right, nice play, buddy. Good job, my boy.
Thanks for letting me hit you.
Classy guy there. That's that Stanford education.
Oh,
buddy.
what a dork, man. Jeez.
Man, and I just seen this thing. They had one of those fancy high-definition charts that they love to throw up on the mothership. And it was Andrew Luck on pace to get Peyton Manning's single-season passing yards record. Guess where he is right now, Sean? He's 15 yards behind where Manning was at this time. I used to think when you were talking about people breaking records, they'd either set a new pace and they're ahead of it, but my man's 15 yards behind. He has one bad game, that record will be impossible to catch.
Yeah, I don't think he's
It's
catching
like,
that.
what
No.
are they doing at the mothership, man?
I don't know, but clearly they're doing something that's not looking at the actual games on the field, because there's just no way. I mean, it assumes that Andrew Luck's going to have the longevity. It also assumes he's going to maintain his level of play.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many variables out there that it's silly to even track a record like that until maybe like 5 years down the road.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Like, it's so far out there. It's like me saying, my son got 100% on his second grade spelling test. Med school's right around the corner, buddy.
He's on pace to a Harvard education. I think I misspoke earlier. This last week was, of course, week 9 of the NFL. And once again, I shellacked Bo in our picks. Bo, I went 10-3. How did you do?
Not too hot again. 7 wins seems to be my staple. 7-8 wins. That's where I'm coming in at each week.
You once promised that you were going to make our fine listeners some money, Bo.
You know what happened? I became a fantasy football guru this year. I have finally found my place amongst the gamblers, and I am just crushing them on fantasy football.
Made some money this week?
Yeah, made some money this week and moved into second and first in a couple leagues.
All right,
Looking
well,
good.
Before we get to our picks for this week, Johnny Manziel had what some think is a funny prank, but what I'm sure one of his buddies think is really annoying because now they have to change their phone number, Bo.
Yeah, Johnny Manziel strikes again. The guy reporting on this story, every time someone gives a Johnny Manziel story out of Cleveland, they're one of their affiliates through ESPN or the NFL Network, whoever it is, can somebody find that guy and make sure that his suit fits? Every time they show a guy, Sean, he has on a jacket that he looks like he got off the rack at Burlington, and they didn't even try it on. They're just like, you need a jacket to wear if you're going to do this interview. And he just puts it on and goes out there.
Held together with clothespins in the back of it.
Yeah, it's like, where are they getting these stories? But anyway, he tweets out his friend's telephone number as a prank, and, half the world calls him because they assume it's Johnny Manziel's telephone number. And I was thinking, let me look up some classic pranks.
By the way, I would love to hear those voicemails. I bet some of them are just classic.
Oh yeah, everybody was just looking for money. Hey Johnny, I got an idea. Hey Johnny, sign this.
Hey
Johnny.
Or maybe some young ladies also called him up. I wouldn't be surprised at that either.
That's what I mean, looking for money.
Oh, okay, right. Same thing.
But the former coach of Peyton Manning's offensive coordinator is David Cutcliffe. He's at Duke, and they're doing an outstanding job. He was on the highly questionable show with Lebitard and Bomani Jones. And he says that one time Peyton Manning sabotaged his computer, hacks in, and puts it on a porn site, and it like literally locked it. It's like university property. It's hilarious. And I'm thinking to myself, like, on the levels of tweeting out a phone number to putting porn on an administrator's computer at a college, that is a real prank. And it's a shame that now social media has put us in an era where we're so watched that nobody knows how to prank anymore. Like, nobody does anything real. It's always the prank that is politically correct, it's not really going to offend people, and it's going to be safe enough that it doesn't make ownership upset. I don't know. What do you think about it, Sean?
Yeah, kind of a lame. Some pranks don't require a lot of effort, but this is just. I mean, he just called this one in. I mean, it takes no creativity. He just tweeted the number out.
It's
what is
not
that?
even a prank. I mean, it's the like, I put my principal's cell phone number on the school's webpage. Like, that's not funny. I mean, go get the guy's car and drive it into the car wash with the top down. Old Saved by the Bell episode. Remember that one?
Oh, Zach Morris.
Zach, well, I'm going to get you, Mr. Belding.
One of the other interesting side stories this week, Jadeveon Clowney got called out by some Hall of Famers, Bo.
Hall of Famers are calling out Mr. Clowney. You want to be taking number 1 overall, Clowney? You better believe you're going to have some real men that paved the way for you to get that kind of money and that kind of draw commenting on your play. And unfortunately, you're 0 for 6. You haven't played in 6 games. And this most recent affair happens because Clowney was sick. His tummy was hurt. he didn't feel good. So he didn't want to go out there and make that $900,000 game
What the
check.
hell is that?
Oh my God!
Even Romo was playing through broken bones. I mean, you can't get a vitamin C infusion or some crap and get out there.
I just wish people that were serving my food had the same, ideas as Clowney. Oh, I got a sniffle. I can't go into work today. No, Clowney, you play football. Nobody cares. If you're puking, just go over on the sideline. They'll stand around you and we'll hide it. It comes a time in a young man's life, especially the game of football, where he realizes how big this game is. And LaDainian Tomlinson, I think he said the best thing. This is really a product of that first generation of the ESPN Next series. You remember the articles, LeBron, Davion Clowney. There's been a few that have come along that never have panned out. But every year they do a Next segment, and it's some high school senior or whatever that's just wrecking some league somewhere, and they're already saying, number 1 draft pick, 20, whatever. You can't do that because this guy he had that great hit against Michigan. That's my whole idea of Jadeveon Clowney to this point. He hit somebody from Michigan really hard. It's time to perform, son.
Yeah, and this goes with his rep back in the college days. What was his coach's quote? He plays when he wants to, or something like that.
Yep.
Kind of sounds like that trend's continuing.
And remember, the guys at South Carolina tried to beat that guy up. He was only telling the truth. You know why? Because I remember hearing this one. If you want to survive as a coach, the number one thing you never do when a college comes to your high school, don't lie. And when the NFL comes to your college, don't lie. Because those boys are really that is the cartel of my business. Being a high school football coach, I want to coach college. If my friend calls me from NC State and says, hey, Bo, we're recruiting a kid in New Mexico. Have you seen him play? It's going to be honest as all get out because I'm being tested at that time. So I understand now why that guy from South Carolina said what he did because, look, they gave the kid a few $1 million and he hasn't even shown up in Reliant Stadium.
Well, Bo, as we've already covered, I've won our picks competition. I mean, you're not going to catch me. And this week, I'm calling it right now. I might go 16-0 this week.
Oh, now if you go 16-0, you better make 100,000. You better be betting some money.
I still haven't put in a single parlay this year.
You got to get on it then.
I guess so. I mean, I have had.
This is your year.
I have had a winning record every single week, but
everybody has a year.
Those parlays are dangerous. Okay, so let's get on with it then. Week 10 of the NFL starts off with Thursday night. It's kind of a sneaky good game here. Browns travel to Cincinnati. Spread Cincinnati by 6. I don't know about that, but I will take Cincinnati in that game.
Yeah, Cincinnati's getting back to the way they were looking earlier in the season. I agree with that.
Oh, the other really cool thing about this game, Devon Still's daughter, the one who's been battling cancer, is now healthy enough to travel.
Nice.
This is going to be the first game that she'll get to watch her dad play
awesome.
pro ball. So
that's a great story.
So I think that they're going to be playing with some extra emotion in that game for sure.
Yeah.
Next game, go to Sunday in the morning. My Kansas City Chiefs travel to Buffalo. Well, I don't know if they have what it takes to take down Kyle Orton's mustache, but I do think that they're going to win this game handily, even though the spread is only KC by 1.5. Bo, tell me that you're not going to bet against my Chiefs once again.
No, I want to take the Chiefs. They're back.
All right, you're learning. This game is really the only coin flip game of the week for me. It's another early game. Miami, who absolutely throttled the Chargers. We both got that game wrong, by the way. In Miami last week, they traveled to Detroit. I just don't know what to think about this. Detroit, a 3-point favorite at home. Again, Miami played so red hot last week. I think that they're going to get taken down a peg. I think we're going to see what Tannehill really, realistic. The way that he's going to be playing against a good defense that isn't the Chargers, who are absolutely hobbled by injuries. Give me the Lions in this one. I do think it's going to be a close game, though.
Yeah, and as far as ESPN goes, I wish somebody would start a website and just keep track of all of their pages on ESPN.com, because for about 4 hours a day, every time I logged on to see what's going on in the sports world or got on Fox, ESPN thought it would be cool to put Ryan Tannehill's picture up there and talk about an emerging player. He will throw for 136 yards, 2 interceptions this week against Detroit. I'm taking Detroit in this one.
That sounds about right. Okay, I think I know who you're going to pick in this game, but you have the gimpy Tony Romo traveled today to London in a big old jet, and they're going to be playing the Jags, who are, well, terrible. I think even if Romo can't make it through the entire game, I think Dallas is that much better than the Jags. I think it's going to be an easy victory.
You know, this kind of scares me just because the food I hear over there is just horrible. Had a family member go over there for business and said, if you're just raised meat and potatoes, Midwest steak potatoes, you're going to have a hard time eating. I wonder if they take their own USDA Black Angus prime rib over there, because they're not going to be able to find any good cow in London, buddy.
You know what's weird, man? I had this friend that came over here from London to do a little traveling across the United States, and I noticed that like every single meal, this guy was using ketchup. I mean, I saw this dude put ketchup on chicken fried rice.
Yeah.
What the hell is going on over there with their taste buds?
That's what I'm saying. It's some weird food over there, man.
Okay.
I thought they're like us.
You're agreeing, though, Dallas wins?
Yeah.
Okay, I figured. San Francisco at New Orleans. Will San Francisco finally right their ship? A lot of rumors circulating that Harbaugh is still on his way out at the end of this season, win, lose, or draw. It's not a confident locker room right now, that's for sure. I don't think this week's going to change that. I think the Saints pull it out.
Yeah, you and Jerry Rice are thinking along the same lines. I caught him this morning. He was talking. He actually called Harbaugh's offense college. I don't know if he's trying to take a shot at him or just tell it like it is, but he was hit 8 times. Colin Kaepernick was hit 8 times. Most quarterbacks in the NFL have safety valves or something to alleviate that pressure. You got to go New Orleans now because somebody found something. The film's out against San Francisco.
Somebody found something. That person's Bo. You've yet to disagree with me, Bo. Way to go. Okay, next game. Tennessee at Baltimore. Baltimore they kind of got waxed by the Steelers. How good is Ben Roethlisberger playing, by the way? 2 consecutive 6-touchdown games. Didn't think that was going to happen. I think the Ravens do rebound in this game, though. Spread is Baltimore by 9.5. That seems high. I think they get the win, though.
What's funny to me is Brady and Manning like doubled the amount of throws that Big Ben had. Like they're over there throwing the ball 50 and 40 times a game, but Big Ben's getting the production. That guy, it's going to be scary to see him if you have to match up with him in the playoffs. But Tennessee, don't know what to think of them. I don't think I'm going to know anything about them until the end of the year, and I see their final record. Baltimore's been very disappointing, but I got to take the Ravens.
Speaking of Big Ben, they traveled to New York to play the hapless Jets. By the way, who's going to have more wins at the end of this year, Bo? The Jets or Oakland? Jets only have 1 win, and it was to Oakland.
I'd have to look at the schedules because I got to think Oakland's going to hit a stretch where it's going to get easier. And they've been close.
They got to play the Chiefs twice. They still have to play the Broncos twice.
Oh, never mind. Let's go with the Jets.
Yeah,
now, this brings up a memory. I think it was like week 3 or 4. I was sitting over here talking about how the Steelers look legit. And then they lost like 2 games in a row. And one of those games was at Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look.
I think it was Tampa Bay, but this game looks like that again. 2 big performances. Everybody's talking about Big Ben and they're back. This could be the upset of the week here.
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Steelers win that game big. You're taking the Jets?
Gosh, is this Vic? You never know with this guy.
Yeah, I kind of do. I don't see the Jets winning another game this year. I think Rex Ryan.
I'll take Pittsburgh.
I think Rex Ryan is either going to be on a TV set next year or, as some have suggested, coaching the Falcons, perhaps.
Dude, that guy has if he keeps that weight off with the NFL, like that being right behind him, he's going to make so much money with some like Special K or Jenny Craig or something. Just watch. It'll be like, hi, former Jets coach Rex Ryan. I used to be as big as a house. That guy was huge. Lost a lot of weight.
His brother still hasn't, though.
No, brother's not on the same plan, but does brother have a wife?
He does. There was actually a great piece on his brother on E60 last week.
Yeah.
What a likable guy. I want to go down to that bar in New Orleans and knock back a few with him after he goes to the same bar after every victory, like just hangs out with the fans, drinks with them, the dude, Final early game features Atlanta at Tampa Bay. Yeah, wow. I'm kind of going straight chalk here, but I like the Falcons in this one.
No, I like Tampa Bay.
All right.
I think the wheels are off down there.
I think the wheels are off for both of those teams, but who's worse?
Well, the team that has nothing to lose, I'm going to pick. That's Tampa.
All right. Speaking of the Raiders and them getting waxed, they welcome Denver into town. The one thing you can say, and we've talked about this before, the Raiders aren't getting blown out.
No.
So you look at that spread in that game, 11.5 points. I don't know if I would take that spread with the Broncos. Broncos win the game. I think it's more like 7-10 points.
Yeah, and usually after Belichick does something, like every coach is like, oh my gosh, there it is. We got to do that. And you'll see it being reproduced. And maybe, just maybe, they can give Manning a few fits, but I'm still going to take Denver.
Next up, the Rams pulled somewhat of an upset by beating the 49ers in San Francisco. This time, they face an even tougher opponent as they travel to Arizona, one of the hottest teams in the league. I think there's no way the Rams are strong enough to beat Arizona, and I don't think it's going to be close. Spread in that game is 7 points. I'd probably take that. Arizona wins.
Yeah, go with the Cardinals on that one, definitely.
I thought this next team was going to be pretty good, but they have just been getting blown out lately. Giants travel to Seattle, who's not doing all that great themselves. Tough one to pick, but I think Seattle and that home field advantage takes the victory.
I'm going to take Eli Manning and the boys. Just like
they're going to rebound.
Funny. They're funny. They always do this.
Next game, it's Sunday night, big time rivalry. The Bears at Green Bay. It's got to be getting cold up there.
Ugh.
Green Bay, they love it. Spread is 7 points. Again, I think I'd probably take that and the Packers with a victory.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Chicago's kind of got their back up against the wall. They got to do something. They haven't done anything electric this year. They've won, but they haven't had that staple win. I'm going to take Chicago.
You wonder what kind of shape that locker room is in. We're a couple weeks removed from all the comments made about Jay Cutler and all the screaming after a game by Brandon Marshall, but you just have to wonder how cohesive that unit is right now.
Rivalries are funny games, as Dallas showed.
That's true. That might wake them up. So you're taking Packers in that one?
No, I'm taking Chicago.
Okay, you are taking Chicago. All right, Monday Nighter. Ooh, what an exciting one. Carolina at Philadelphia. By the way, these promos for these Monday night games on ESPN, they're getting just lamer and lamer. They're like looking for all this like clever punny wordplay to use and everything like that. Just show some highlights and play the dun 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 dun.
That's all. Keep it simple.
Yeah, Philly wins this one. Spread is 6 points. I'll take that.
Yeah, we got the reincarnation of Sanchez. Dropped 202 yards.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how he fits in that offense. Once he went in, I'm sure you saw this about all the players not even realizing Foles was out.
Hilarious.
But, I mean, once he went in, they weren't playing conservatively. They weren't, just checking down. They were moving the ball, throwing the ball downfield. He looked good. He looked like he was playing with confidence.
Yeah. This will be interesting, though. Cam Newton, another guy, needs to do something. Got to strike quick because the NFL, you lose too many in a row, you just don't have a chance at the playoffs. I'm going to go ahead and take Philadelphia, though.
All right, so we agree there. Well, that's going to do it for this week's episode of the Sean and Bo Show. Until next week, enjoy the football, and we're reminding you once again, tip your pizza man.
See you next week.